Every day is our day. Welcome to my channel. Today we're actually going to be going over a book called Atomic Habits. I know, a gamer talking about books. Blech. Before I even get into it though, I'm not the guy to come to for the advice. Now I have read the book, I've listened to it in audio form, I've taken many notes, and now I'm even making a presentation on it. But again, this is what I've learned from this. I'm not giving you all of the advice. I highly recommend reading the book yourself and gaining all the knowledge from the book by James Clear. So let's get into this now. Like I mentioned, the book is called Atomic Habits by the author James Clear. A beautiful, bald intellectual, if I do say so myself. Now, before I even get into the presentation though, I can already hear you asking, what makes you a gamer? I'm glad you asked. Here are my qualifications. I have 100%ed Batman Arkham Asylum, not once, not twice, but thrice. Yes, 3 whole times. And for every Smash tournament I have ever gone to, I've gone 1 and 2. Now, if that doesn't satisfy you, I'm not sure what will. So on to the presentation. What we'll be going over are the chapter summaries, as well as using video games to get my point across, and even using some of my own examples that I've used from the book. So, everybody wants to be great. Everybody has the same goal to become successful or be a winner. But if everybody has the same goal, why doesn't everyone win? And even if you do win, you're likely to fall back into bad habits. So, a new way of thinking. You need to focus more on the system rather than the goal. You need more tiny wins that will add up to bigger wins, as well as getting 1% better every day till you become a completely different person. Now, you do not rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. A beautiful quote, and there will be much more quotes throughout this presentation. Now, a perfect example of this, any Pokemon game you ever played, this is Pokemon Emerald, the best Pokemon game ever. Sorry about it. You can plant berries in Pokemon games and water them. Now, the berries don't grow the second you plant and water them. They do take days. The system is constantly watering them until eventually your reward are the berries that come days later. So the first step, we need to understand the new identity we are creating. Wording plays a big part in this. How would blank do it? Then prove it to yourself with tiny wins. For example, I want to be a YouTuber. So I would always ask myself, how would PewDiePie do it? Because PewDiePie is a big inspiration to me. And PewDiePie constantly made YouTube videos even when you couldn't really make money off of YouTube. Every video he made, he became 1% better. Constantly better, to the point where he became one of the biggest YouTubers of all time. And then he took those habits to get freaking jacked. Look at this man. This man is not the same person anymore. This man is huge. I'm going off on a tangent, but this man is huge. Going back to the presentation. The system. Okay, the system. Habits form when you find the best results. Your brain takes the data and remembers it for the next time to solve the problem faster. The 21-day rule is actually a myth. When it boils it down, everything is a habit. And there's 4 steps to this process of a habit. There's cue, craving, response, and reward. Now I'm going to explain this 4-step process using one of my favorite video games of all time, Borderlands 2. So, with the first step being cue, in Borderlands 2 there's a lot of side missions, and the indication that there's a side mission is exclamation point on top of the person's head. So the cue, or the visualization, is the exclamation point letting you know that there's a side mission. So you crave to know what that side mission is. And when you do, you actually realize there's a cosmetic as the reward, a head. So the craving gets intensified, and you accept this mission, and as a response, you take action. And the action is to find the Midgimong, get your gun, shoot the Midgimong, and kill the Midgimong. He is dead now. I'm hoping you're happy. And as a reward, you get an eye patch. Now you look like Nick Fury. Wow! So again, there's 4 steps. Cue, craving, response, reward. When you boil it down, everything is a habit. So some tips, saying it out loud. When you do a habit for long enough, you start to become unaware of it. This could lead to bad habits you are not even aware of. Saying out loud the habit will make you more conscious of it to determine whether or not it's good or bad. And a great example is me with my 1 and 2 record. So when you first start competitive Smash Bros, a very easy bad habit that a lot of newcomers get is jumping. And your opponent can easily exploit that. So every time you jump, saying out loud, "I am jumping," will be a great indicator to realize that, hey, maybe jumping is not the best idea. A habit that is unaware becomes aware. Now, also being specific helps tremendously as well with habits. But pick a place and time, as well as the more specific, the better. I will Fortnite in my mother's basement at 3:05. This will trigger your brain to instantly be aware of the habit when it becomes around that time and location. Fortnite, baby. Now the environment has another huge factor in this. Changing the environment can help lead to great habits. Having cues and things to remind you as well can lead to great habits. Old environments make it harder to form new habits, and once the desirable habit is formed, do not use that area for anything else except that habit you're using it for. Now, some good points is you can go places, but as well as if you can't, putting simple things up on the wall to indicate the habits you're trying to form, like practice. Putting the word practice actually can lead to you practicing more. A simple word will cue, which then will crave, response, reward. And if you're trying to be the best Tekken player of all time and achieve that trophy, putting that trophy picture on the wall can be a great motivation to form the habit of getting better at Tekken. Now, making things obvious and invisible is another huge benefit. If you see a cue, you're more likely to do the habit. You crave it. If the cue is nowhere in sight, the craving will not come aware. So, if the habit is already formed though, you most likely will not forget it, unfortunately. But a great example is if you are playing video games a little too much, which I don't know who is, a good idea is once you're done playing the video games, and I know this is gonna suck, guys, but you can unplug the console and store it away. Out of sight, out of mind, you're less likely to play the console again. Also, making it attractive could be hugely beneficial. The more desirable and attractive the opportunity is, the easier it will become a habit. Temptation building is combining a habit you don't want to do with a habit that you do want to do. And a perfect example is, look at this gamer. This gamer is walking and gaming. He's doing a desirable habit, which is gaming, with an undesirable habit, which is exercise. Boo. But in results, he's doing more walking, which is healthy for him. Look at him go. The people you surround yourself heavily influence your habits. If you want a desirable habit, finding people with the like-minded mindset can be a big help. People rather be wrong in a crowd than right alone. I know that's true, unfortunately. Also, just follow someone you aspire to be. Again, I aspire to be like PewDiePie. So, whatever he did, I try my best to implicate it myself. Find leagues to join, competitive groups with like-minded individuals to push each other, as well as just casual gaming areas of like-minded individuals. Just find someone the same mindset as you to push each other. Now, wording and starting needs to be part of your habits. How you say something has a huge effect. Maybe I can get good at this game should turn into, I'm going to practice at this game every day and enjoy the process. Notice the difference. Oh, I could still fail and be okay with it, into, I'm going to keep on working at this to become great and love it. That's huge difference. Also, when you're about to start a habit, having tiny habits to wire your brain to start that habit is a great thing. For example, for me, I actually have a headband For every time I'm editing or anything to do with off-camera YouTube, I put it on to remind my brain it's time to lock in. And then this timer is actually the timer I use in real life. This timer also helps me indicate how much time I need to lock in. These 2 tiny habits I start before I actually start my YouTube habit in general. But it's all about the reps. It really does matter about the reps. While motion is the process of planning, thinking, and everything around the idea, while action is just simply doing your idea. People get stuck in motion because they want to delay failure. Failing sucks, it does, but it's part of life. So repetition is a form of change. Again, making so many tiny victories to the point where you become a different person. And I'm gonna give my age away with this, but this is probably one of the first video game memes to ever come out on the internet. Mr. Leroy Jenkins! Now let me explain the situation. So this is World of Warcraft, and this is a whole group. Right now, they're actually in motion. They're in front of this battle they're about to fight, and in motion, they're planning how they're going to approach this battle. They're talking about the spells they're going to use, the buffs they're going to use, and off in the corner is Mr. Leroy Jenkins. He's off mic, not paying attention to their motion. And he puts his mic on and he takes action and he runs into the battlefield. Now, unfortunately, they all did die because of that. And it's a tremendous meme to come about it. I highly recommend watching that meme if you were too young to watch it prior. Now, yes, they did die, but guess what? They respawned and they could do it again with more repetition and more planning to expect for the next battle again. So now, let me use an even better example. From Dark Souls, the Nameless King, known notoriously as one of the hardest bosses in Dark Souls. You can use as much motion as you want, as much planning as you want, and all of that. But in reality is, you need to take action and die. And then die again. And then, die again. And even then, die again. You need this repetition of all this action to know his habits and to form better habits against his habits. To, in the end, prevail and win. Whoa! But because of that, everybody does have to start somewhere. Everybody wants to be great, but deep down we are all lazy. I can agree to that. I'm hella lazy. So you must make the habits as easy as possible so you're more likely to do that. Trust me, I know. If you want to start a habit, just do the 2-minute rule. Do the habit for literally 2 minutes and then stop. Get used to showing up and build up from there. Just get used to the idea of showing up. If you go back to my older videos, and I mean like the first few videos, you can hear it in my voice. I am nervous. I loved the idea of making YouTube videos, but I was so nervous that it took me so long to even start my YouTube channel. And then even then, it took me so long to start really recording videos that much. Because I was so nervous. But showing up, getting my reps in, is all that matters. Now there's always decisive moments in your life that make the hugest difference. Little moments lead to the rest of the day's outcome. For example, I have 2 options. Option 1, I work out the second I get home from work. Or option 2, I play video games the second I get home from work. Now let's be honest here, which option sounds better? I mean, well, depending on person, but option 2 does sound better. Playing video games the second you get home from work does sound great. Now, however, for me, the second I do play video games, that leads to me watching YouTube, which then leads to me not being very motivated to want to do anything. So then I don't work out and I don't work on YouTube. So however, option 1, if I do work out the second I get home, that really motivates me and wants me to keep on doing all my positive habits, which working out leads to working on YouTube, which then leads to doing all my chores, which then I bring it all the way back around at the end of the day and I get to play my video games as the reward. and I feel so much more satisfied playing it rather than being the first thing I do when I get home. So making bad habits hard to start is kind of the same idea as making them invisible. When making bad habits hard to start, you're more likely to start the good habits. Bad habits are easy to fall back into though, and easy to repeat. For example, autoplay on Netflix, YouTube, and all the streaming services are a thing only because it's easier to let the next video play rather than getting up and doing something else. I might as well watch another video because, hey, I'm right here, so why not? And then just don't buy Fortnite bucks. Terrible habit to have, I'm sorry. While you can also make it satisfying, when you complete a task, you want to feel the sense of accomplishment. You need an instant gratification to complete the task, but however, you must delay your long-term goal. So, if you wait, there will be less competition with a bigger reward. My favorite quote of this entire presentation, the last mile is always the least crowded. So, a perfect example are all the battle passes. In this picture, this is an Apex battle pass. But what I mean by this instant gratification, when you buy the battle pass, I would assume your goal is to get to the end of the battle pass and complete it and get that final epic reward. Now, as you keep leveling up, getting closer to that end goal, they will sprinkle in rewards with each level up. These are the instant gratifications to keep driving you to your last goal. When you level up, they'll give you currency or skins to motivate you. In any aspect of life, finding those little instant gratifications that help you push towards your biggest goal will be greatly beneficial, and I highly recommend it. And then lastly, having someone to hold you accountable. Having someone to hold you accountable will make you feel ashamed or embarrassed if you fail. Having a punishment, so if you do not claim what you do, can be a great benefit. For example, I have Rose watching me. And if I do not work on YouTube in any way for at least an hour a day, I cannot play video games or watch anime for 2 days. And on top of that, if I do not upload every other Sunday, which I do, so please subscribe, then I cannot see my friends until the next upload period. Now, do these things seem harsh? Yes. But why? Because if they aren't, then I'm not gonna take them seriously. And so if I fail, I'm just gonna brush it off. You need these punishments that will actually hold value to form these habits that you want. Now, again, guys, this is a very brief, and I mean very brief, explanation of this book. And I didn't even go that deep into the chapters, and I skipped a lot of chapters. So I highly recommend you reading the book or listening to it in audio form, which it's free on YouTube if you want to listen to it, just saying. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please read his book. Please subscribe to me. And every day is our day. Keep becoming great. And I'll see you on the next other Sunday. Woo!